Guys, what's going on at the border is not sustainable. We have a crisis at our border. We have a humanitarian crisis. We have a drug crisis. We have a human trafficking crisis. We have a child smuggling crisis. We had kids overflow cages, 700% capacity crisis. We have 7,000 COVID positive illegals being released into McAllen, Texas alone over the last couple of months. That's a crisis, right? They don't want you to travel interstate. Joe Biden's considering eliminating interstate travel for those who aren't vaccinated. New York City, you need a vaccine passport. They want to be able to go to a restaurant or to go to work. But if you're illegal and you come across the border with COVID, we'll release you into society. We hope you do the right thing and perhaps don't spread it to everyone else, but I have a feeling you don't care that much. We have a crisis, and it's not just me saying it. It's Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, DHS Secretary Alexander Mayorkas, Joe Biden's secretary, okay? Joe Biden's secretary says, and I quote, "This is unsustainable. These numbers cannot continue. We cannot get to a point where we were a couple of weeks ago, and we're gonna make sure that doesn't happen. We're looking at the policy options." So they were already at a point a couple of weeks ago that was unsustainable, right? Some of the highest numbers of illegal traffic across the board in recent times, like 20, 30 years. I've heard even further than 30 years in some cases, okay? But in a long time. This crisis was created by Joe Biden and the Democrats and their ridiculous policies. By Kamala, who was going to be in charge of the problem and wants nothing to do with it, right? She'll go 900 miles away from the problem, do a quick photo op and leave. This is on the Democrats. What's going on with drugs, with human trafficking, child trafficking, sex trafficking, it's disgusting. It's not sustainable, and it's not humanitarian. It's not good for our country, and it's not good for those people. But when you roll out the welcome mat and say, we're going to give you free everything, you are actually going to be treated as an illegal better than the average American citizen. Of course people are going to come. Of course they're going to come. They rolled out the welcome wagon. But now, in leaked audio, it appears that even Joe Biden's cabinet understands that it's not sustainable, that it doesn't work, that it's not humanitarian. Now, they're going to try to fix it with policy. The problem is the Democrats don't have rational policy. It's their policies that created the problem in the first place. It's their policies that created the unprecedented influx. It's their policies that overcrowded the kids in cages that Barack Obama built. Again, it's only a story if there's kids in cages under Trump, not when it's Barack Obama, not when it's Joe Biden, and not when Joe Biden's cages are overflowing at levels we've never seen before. That's not a problem. But this is an issue. It's something we have to be all over. This is going to be a disaster for those individuals and for our country. And in the words of DHS Secretary Mayorkas, and he doesn't want it out there, that's why it's leaked audio, it's not sustainable. Democrats, stop pushing your nonsense. Start using your brain. And if you don't have one or are not capable of using one, why don't you go back to my father's policies? Because they worked. Because they worked. Fix this now. Although I'm not going to hold my breath.
Behind closed doors, in this leaked audio talking to Border Patrol agents, Mayorkas says the situation is more dire than he is publicly willing to admit.
This is unsustainable. These numbers cannot continue. We cannot get to a point where we were a couple weeks ago, and we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. We're looking at the policy options.